I certainly will, because I think that's a very fair and important question. Look, I respect his children. His children are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald.
Okay.
I don't agree with nearly anything else he says or does, but I do respect that, and I think
now let's go here. And I'm going to tell you guys what I think about this.
Well, I consider her statement about my children to be a very nice compliment.
Right, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. His name is Kyle. Let's go back.
Positive thing.
Because y'all totally ignored this. And all the people that are close to me, listen.
One positive thing that you respect in one another.
Name one positive thing that you respect about one another.
Trump, would you like to go first? Well, I certainly will, because I think that's a very fair and important question. Look, I respect his children.
His children?
His children are incredibly able.
Really?
And devoted. Okay. And I think that says a lot about Donald.
Now let's go.
I don't agree with...
Let's be fair.
Today. Mr. Trump.
Well, I consider her statement about my children to be a very nice compliment. I don't know if it was meant to be a compliment, but it is a great. I'm very proud of my children, and they've done a wonderful job, and they've been wonderful, wonderful kids. So I consider that a compliment. I will say this about Hillary: she doesn't quit, she doesn't give up. I respect that. I tell it like it is. She's a fighter.
Okay.
I disagree with.
Now. Alright, how do I move this here? Okay, so here's the deal, guys. This is something that I've been very passionate about. I didn't get a chance to watch all of the presidential running and campaigning. However, I was taking a bath and somebody said that the debate was on. So I decided to turn on this particular debate at that particular moment. And I was like, man, that is an incredible question with all the shenanigans and politics that's going on with this year's presidential campaigning. I'm interested to know how they're going to answer this question. And listen, how you ask somebody, listen, if y'all didn't recognize that as some type of hatred, she really, just think about, put yourself in these shoes. I know this is politics and that gives us the ability to lie and be manipulative to the public. But let's say from a real standpoint, if somebody was to ask, I'm trying to think of somebody that if someone asks me a question like, what do I respect about this person? Like, how do you talk about somebody else? That's like if you're married and somebody says, tell me one thing about this person. And you start talking about their spouse, right? They asked her to speak about, they asked both of the candidates to speak about, say one thing that you respect about the other person. One of the candidates, that being Hillary Clinton, she picked one thing that she respects about him is his children. I mean, I said this when this first happened, and everybody ignored me. Nobody wanted to hear it. You ask everybody that I know, from my friends to my business partners, those that are closest to me, I've had this conversation. I started asking everybody, like, yo, did you see the debate last night? What did you think about that question? Like, what did you think about that question? Do you remember that question? What's one thing that you respect about the other candidate? I'm not going to draw this conversation on. I just wanted to put my stamp on it so I can get behind it, because I actually just had a conversation with Zakira the other day and we were just reminded by it, right? Because at that same moment, she was one of those people that I brought this conversation to. I was like, wait, oh, that's kind of weird. No matter, even if you hate somebody, right? Even if you don't like somebody, you're on a public platform trying to win something, and you're not going to answer the question directly. I mean, that works obviously for the popular vote, and you know what? This is a life lesson that we should all learn from, right? That was a cheap move, right? That was a cheap move, and that's how crazy this campaign went this past year. Like, what do you guys think about that? Like, if somebody is asking you a direct question, she could have easily said, I'm not going to answer the question. But all these religious folk, the church folk, y'all need to really start paying it. Listen, the Electoral College, remember, Hillary won the popular vote, but she lost the electoral vote. To me, let me translate that. Hillary won the popular vote, right? And Trump won the decision makers. Now, I don't care how we say it, but there's a lot of you that are against and have you have a preconceived idea of my message right now. And all my messages in this video is, how do you feel about the way that both of these presidential these presidential candidates answered this question? And the thing is Hillary is supposed to be the politician, right? She's supposed to be able to when they go low, she goes high, right? That's what Hillary was supposed to be. But go back and watch that clip, right? Go back and watch that clip. Was that not an opportunity to go high? But she went so low. It was so obvious. I mean, you could hear the reaction from the people that were there. Like when she said his children, you can hear, if you listen, if you go on ABC News on YouTube, you'll hear, oh, like, I can't believe she said that. Who does that? And here this so-called evil man had at least the ability to find one respectable thing about her. I mean, you guys can slice that up as much as you want, but look, the higher ups, like the real people in this world, you know how to separate the truth from what you want to believe. You know how to do that. Now, but for everybody else, you guys are going to take this message and say whatever you want to say about it. But all my message is the nerve of somebody. If I'm hanging around you and so, if there's a news reporter coming to you, we're together, right? And a news reporter says, tell me one thing that you respect about Demetrius. And if you say, the one thing I respect about Demetrius is his family, his YouTube channel. You got to say something, right? But if you're being asked that question and you say, the one thing that I respect about Demetrius is his cousin. The best thing I respect about Demetrius is, look, go back and watch the damn video. It's really, really sad that we just ignored this, right? That's not godlike. That ain't godlike. She could have did that just between her and Bill. She could have said that. But listen, you trying to win something. You lying about everything else in your campaign, not just her, but everybody. Go back and watch that clip and really honestly tell me if the higher ups, that's disrespectful. See, but the popular people won't believe that right now. But all the real folk that are watching this and all the decision makers and all the real people who love God, I ain't talking about Christianity. Or I'm talking about mankind. Respect the other man. Respect the other person. Right? Even in the UFC, after a fight, they shake hands. They show some type of respect. Now, Name one thing that you respect about the person that you hate in this world most. Name one thing. I know I could do it. And I ain't even in front of tens of millions of people yet. But I could do it right now. Not because I'm disciplined, but because I'm a child of God. I can always find at least one thing that I respect about a human being. Alright, so that's all I had to share. You guys can make of this video whatever you want to make of it. But do me just one simple favor. Go back to the beginning of this video and watch that clip. And tell me you don't find that strange that the one thing that this woman can respect about her competitor in front of the whole world was his children. One thing, really? And then also go back and look, maybe the higher ups, maybe the electoral colleges didn't like that move. They didn't like her heart, right? Because that takes a different type of heart to do that. That's very strange. That's very, very strange. That's like if you pull up in a brand new car that you like your dream car, you just pull up and people who know you don't even acknowledge it. They're just like, oh, that's a nice outfit you got on. They know you've been working on this your entire life, and they say, oh, I like that nice lipstick. I like your sneakers. I like your Timbs. Like, when are we going to address this type of stuff? Because the reason why I wanted to bring this to the forefront, this was private. I held this conversation very private. The people that are closest to me knows as soon as this debate happened, this moment happened, I started talking about it and asking people how they felt about it. The reason why I'm bringing this to social media is because this is a conversation that needs to happen. There's a lot of foolery that's going on, and it's becoming popular, right? And again, Hillary won the popular vote, but when the decision makers had to say what they needed to say, the higher ups, as Jay-Z likes to call it, the higher ups, they might have looked at stuff like this where it shows your heart. Like, you can't tell us, you're going to control the world, you're going to make decisions for the world, and you can't name one. Listen, let's be real. Like, the United States doesn't have, not everybody is our friends, right? So what made President Barack Obama great is that he was able to go in any environment where people hated us 8 years ago, countries and leaders who hated us 8 years ago. He was able to go in and do things like find one respectable thing, and he was able to tell that person, like, hey, this is what I respect about you. Can you give us another chance? Y'all talking about our president-elect Donald Trump is going to have issues going in. We don't trust him going in and building relationships and connecting us with other countries and doing all these things. What about this? This right here. Go back and watch the clip. She said she can't even give this man one thing that she respects about him. I just think it's worth let's talk about this. There's a lot of foolery, not just in politics, but in real life. And if y'all missed this and y'all didn't think this was a big deal, maybe there's some of this that's going on in your life that you're allowing. Real is back. It's coming back. I'm not saying that President-elect Donald Trump is real and he's our example, but what do you say about this clip of this video? Like, that was a heart question. A heart, not H-R-D, H-E-A-R-T. That was a heart question. And she blew it. She blew it. She blew it. She blew it. All right, go back and watch the video. This is your boy, Billionaire Brown. You can check me out at youtube.com/Billionaire Brown online. Things are picking up. Hashtag something is happening. Tell me what you guys think about the way that question was answered by both parties. And don't mix up what I've been saying. And I've been very particular about the content that I put out in this video. So don't be twisting up my words and what I was saying. Right? I'm just saying, like, That was a very great question in the heat of a presidential campaign that both parties didn't like each other. And Kyle, I forget his last name, he says, name one thing that you respect about the other party, the other candidate. Let me know how you feel about how both parties answered it. And do you think that the way they answered this question played a part in the Electoral College's decision? Right? If we putting God first, right, and that's who we like. I know I like President Barack Obama because the way he believed in God and the way that he always reached up to a higher power, right? He always went high. Even Michelle Obama, I think, coined that phrase where she said, when they go low, we go high. How do you guys feel about that? Did Hillary go low? And did us as the popular people like that way, the way she answered that? And did the people, the higher ups, the Electoral College, did they not like it? What do y'all think about it? That's all I'm asking. What did y'all think about it? All right, peace.